Hi, I'm John. Welcome back to CajunCountryArms. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to put the Dpm or the Dp-28, they're both the same, cut receivers onto one of our jigs that we make. There won't be any welding today. I'm only here to give you dimensions for the receiver and to show you how to install it on one of our jigs. And it doesn't matter which receiver you have that is cut. You can have these that your internal threads for your barrel locks are still intact. You can have this that is just cut to hell up. But any receiver pieces will fit on this jig no matter which one you have. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the basics on installing it onto the jig. I'm not exactly going to be putting cut pieces on because I only got a few pieces that are ready. For example, this front section is actually going to be going with this middle section, and I didn't have time to cut it yet, and the only one I have that would fit it is this. A lot of the other parts are not deslagged yet, and I wanted to go ahead and just show you how it was done and give you dimensions. So I'm actually going to be installing this receiver that I welded a while back, and I'm going to go ahead and install this one on the jig, give you the dimensions of the total length of the jig, total length of the receiver. That way you'll have the basic idea on how to proceed with the jig. We'll start out with a few. I'm not going to start out with the jig just yet. I'll give you a few pointers here on what I learned. Use your barrel. This is a demilled barrel, which I have some new ones coming. So I'm not going to actually be using this barrel, but for purposes here, we're going to go ahead and use it just to give you some basic ideas. You go ahead and install your barrel into your locks. And as you can see, this would be the second piece, but you can see it does not go in anymore because of your barrel stops on the inside of your receiver. So at this point, what you would do is take a set of calipers and measure your internal gap here, which comes out to right around 836 thousandths. And if you got extra receiver pieces like I would do, I would come to this one, find it, mark it, cut it about 15-20 thousandths over where this part would fit inside for welding, and this is a way to close these kind of gaps. Alright, but you, like I said, you could use your barrel. If you got a whole barrel, use your whole barrel. If you got just the stub, you can use just the stub. And it actually it works the same with this. It's just there's a lot of cleaning up on this, but if you take your time with some files, some grinders, you can clean this up and it can work. This is actually the front to this receiver, and you clean it up, it'll go in a little bit closer, but you do the same thing with the barrel. And you take your time. You can weld this. It can be done with patience and time. Alright, let me get this out the way and get this receiver. Alright, as you can see, the jig has the notches on both sides right here for your detent pins for the inside. That way you got to modify your bolts to semi-auto so it can fit this receiver. But if you look close, I don't know if you can see here inside the receiver where the welds, there's no cleaning up on this. This is what aluminum does. You might have a little bit of hand filing just to get some little burrs out, but that is all. And I did not finish cleaning this. I got a little porosity into the well, so I'm gonna have to clean this off and come back and re-TIG it. Same here, I cleaned already a little bit, but I ain't had a chance to clean, fill it and fill up some of the low spots in it to finish sanding. And a lot of questions I ask, what do I use? I use TIG because I had the opportunity to pick one up a couple of years ago, and it works fine, and I love the TIG. It's precise work with it. I started with a MIG, which was gasless. Little cheap Harbor Freight mill, welded all my Uzi receivers with them. They weld fine. The only thing, you have a lot of splatter, and if you get splatter spray to spray on it, it will help come off easy. But that's just what my experience I learned, is just a dirtier weld for cleanup purposes. TIG, take your time with TIG, you get a much pretty weld, but any machine will work on this, all depending on what you have available to you at the time. They all work. The welding rod, the TIG rods I've used for this is ER70S. That's the rod numbers I use to weld all my receivers with TIGging, and it's also the same wire that I use in my gasless machines. It's just on a roll of 10 pounds. It's the exact same wire as the TIG. Alright, so go ahead. What you're going to need to put the jig on are 7/16. Open in, closed in, wrench, ratchet, whatever you have will work. And the bag of hardware that comes with the jig, all the nuts and bolts. Alright, the only reason I'm not installing one of the cut receivers, I don't know if I said it already, is just they're dirty. I didn't have time to deslag none of this, clean up any of the wells, and which I'm not planning to do right now anyway, because I'm not ready to build these yet. I'm working on some other projects right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick it on this receiver, and this is gonna basically give you the idea on what's going on. Might be a little awkward for me to handle with a full receiver putting it on the jig, so kind of just bear with me. And it would be the same as this. Stick your front piece on, you do it without the barrel, or you can do it with the barrel, but it's a lot easier if you do it without the barrel right now, that you can come on and okay, grab one of the clamping brackets. They come with your jig, and we're going to go ahead and slide it underneath the jig all the way to the front. Okay, now we'll put the top plate on and grab a couple of screws that come with it. And we're going to screw it on down. Alright, now we get the second piece, or any other piece you want. You can do it, but just basically showing you on this one. Get the top block, make sure it's sitting all the way back on the shelf of the jig, and go ahead and screw this one down. Okay, once this one's all the way to the back, you can go ahead and tighten it down pretty good, because this one won't be moving again. Alright, at this time, to get your spacing, you would go ahead and I'm not going to do it, but you would go ahead and stick your barrel in, lock it in place. Well, let me see if I can get it in. I'm trying to do it without knocking the camera over. Okay, there. We gotta slide this back forward. The barrel's locked in, so you can go ahead and tighten these down. Alright, but you remember I said I had a piece missing here, but that's basic the idea. And I would have had another piece cut if I was welding this one, which I probably will piece this receiver together, but this one actually is going to that. But I have enough of pieces here to make 3, so I'll probably end up having a piece some together to make the final receiver. But that is basic it. And if this one was cleaned, it would fit on the same way, like this, and your rear piece would fit the same way. You'd go ahead and put this one on, tighten it down. Do not put on your back yet. You would go ahead and weld your front up first. That way you can release this clamp to take the pressure off when you come in to weld the rest, so your barrel won't get stuck inside. When you release it, you would take this clamp, move it to the back of the jig to go ahead and finish clamping this part down. But I'll go ahead and give you some dimensions. Let me go ahead, I'm going to take this off the jig. And well, I'll go ahead and leave it here and just get it out the way. Hopefully you get the idea on how to just continue with your receiver pieces by measuring them, cleaning them up. Alright, your mag well opening. Okay. From the front of your mag well to the rear, go ahead and tighten this down. Is 7.436 thousandths. 7.436 thousandths. That is your mag well opening. So it's done the same here on the cut receiver. You would measure from the front, slide it up till it hits the rear. And as you can see, this one would have to be cut, and it would be probably a nice square bevel weld on this one to weld it to this plate. But that's how you get that measurement. Alright, from the front of your receiver, which is going to be right past your shroud threads, which is going to be right here, to the rear of your receiver, which is right here. And on this receiver is going to be from here to here. And I'll get you those measurements here. Got to break out the big ones to get those. Okay, there's your overall dimensions in inches, which is 14 inches point 926 thousandths. As you can see, I'll try to see if I can get it here, see if it's gonna focus in. And in millimeters, it would be 379.13 millimeters. Now, if you don't have a 24-inch set of calipers, you can measure this in a couple of different kind of ways. You could take your 12-inch, get your measurement here from the front of your receiver to where your lower receiver slides into the upper receiver to latch into place, and that measurement is 8 inches and 420 thousandths. That's 8.420. And now you can do it here. That's your good measurement. Alright, and that is 6.510, or 6 inches and 510 thousandths. Those two are your total length of your receiver. Might be off a couple of thousandths, but a couple of thousandths won't make that big a difference when you measure it this way. But that is your measurements, and hopefully this gives you an idea on how to install the jig onto the receiver. And that should be it. If you got any questions, you can leave me a comment, or you can go to my website. It has the phone number listed with email address. You can contact me either way. A lot of times I do have machines running in the shop all the time, so I do not hear my phone ringing, but I try my best to call back every phone call that I do get that I miss. So that's the dimensions on the receiver, and this is how you install it. Like I say, you just keep working your way back with your measurements. Once you get your front end, the rest comes pretty easy. You might have pretty wells that's a flat butt with a bevel, or you could have wells that have a gap in it, which can also be filled. Just start building it up, and it will build up. Alright, that should be it for today, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.